next focus on the show is about the variant. Now, the coronavirus variant that's originated in the United Kingdom is likely deadlier than the original strain. This is according to a new assessment which was released by the British government scientists. In this report, which evaluated multiple studies, the scientists estimated that the strain known as B.1.1.7 could be 30 to 70% deadlier than the original virus. But they also said there would be a need for more extensive studies. Well, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Professor Sanjeev Krishna, a professor at the St. George's University. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor. So tell us about this new research that has found that the variant in the UK is likely to be even more deadlier. We always knew it was more infectious, but now they're saying it could be deadlier, but at the same time saying that there need to be more studies to say this categorically.
Yes, I think we're always in a process of learning as quickly as we can about the characteristics of this virus and when it changes the variants. And I think early on it was becoming clear that this virus was transmitting more quickly, but that it wasn't clear at the time that it might be causing an increased risk of harm as well. Now, whatever information is coming out, I think this sort of conclusion does take a little bit of time to become firm. I guess what we can say is that the virulence, the effect of the virus on the patients who have it, is either comparable to or maybe more than the very original variant. But let's not forget that there's more than one variant now, and in different parts of the world there are many other variables that also affect outcomes from the infection. So it's not easy always to be categorical, as you've implied.
Right. Now, earlier a UK expert also said that the variant found in the UK is likely to sweep across the world. Quite an alarming statement.
Yes, well, you know, as well as everyone, that in the UK we're now very much in vaccine versus virus. And if you take other measures, and the one thing we can say about, I think, the variants that transmit more easily, and that is that we will need the full toolkit of control measures in addition to vaccines if we're really going to succeed in controlling this virus. And if you take the whole collection of measures, at the moment it does look like at least the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, for example, does have efficacy in reducing complications with even some of the variants. And so this is still encouraging news, but we have to use these tools all together. We can't just rely on one tool, because if there is increased transmission, then we need added efforts to control the infection to get it below, to get that R value below 1.
Now, if we talk about the vaccine program, UK currently has 3 vaccines that are being used in the vaccine drive, and it's moving steadily. Are there any other vaccines that are looking promising right now?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Not just, of course, for the UK, but for every country that needs vaccines, and that, of course, is every country in the world, because as we've heard so many times now, no one is safe unless everyone is safe. So when it comes to the vaccines, what we've had great success with is, of course, the mRNA vaccines, which are a new type of vaccine. You've got the DNA vaccines, for example, the Oxford AstraZeneca one, and then you've got the more sort of old-fashioned vaccines, which would be either the protein vaccines, the subunit vaccines, or virus which has been weakened, so it doesn't cause the same infection that the original virus does. And all these varieties are being developed quickly and are being tested. And some of them are looking better overall than others, better tolerated, maybe have better efficacy, but really they're all part of this global toolkit that we need to be applying very, very effectively to try and control this infection.
So currently this, race for the vaccine drive over the virus, is there any indication when the lockdown will be lifted?
It is a race of vaccine and virus, but it's also, an issue of data and not dates. And that is one of the key messages that I think anybody looking at the response of the virus to lockdown, for example, and vaccines would be saying at this stage, and in fact even the politicians on whom there is this enormous pressure to often by other politicians to come to an answer. They will also be saying the same thing, because it is a fast-moving picture, and even if infections are coming down, the biggest risk that everyone really doesn't want to incur now is that you may have to go into a further lockdown. And that would be an absolute disaster, of course, at all levels, economy, people's lives, and so on. So when measures are being lifted, then I think they must be, of course, lifted very carefully. And everything should be monitored in terms of the response of the infection before you move on to the next measure. Now, this may not appeal to some people, this message that things have to be done gradually, things have to be done carefully, and they must be monitored. But unfortunately, this isn't about politics and what would suit some members of one party or another. It is very much about making sure we don't need to go into lockdown again.